You all know the story. 7 incredible individuals unite to save the world from a common threat. You know them, you love them, they're the backbone of the DC universe. Give your hands up for the Demon Knights!
Who?
Hello friendos and bendos, it's me Z, and you probably don't know who the Demon Knights are, but don't worry, I've got you covered. The Demon Knights were a DC team introduced during the New 52 reboot, who were the premier superhero group of the medieval era. I really enjoy this series and recommend giving it a read, not just because it's a fun time, but also because it's a fascinating look into both DC's past, in lore, and real life. Before we talk about that though, let's talk about the team itself. The Demon Knights is made up of many different characters, both original and established. For established characters, we have Jason Blood, the former scribe of Merlin, cursed with the ability to transform into the demon Etrigan. Then we have Madame Xanadu, a powerful magician and sister to Morgan Le Fay and King Arthur. We also have Sir Ystin, the Shiny Knight, who drank from the Holy Grail and wields Excalibur along with a badass Pegasus. And the final pre-established DC character is none other than Vandal Savage, immortal caveman and world's oldest asshole. In terms of new characters, we have Exoristos, the exiled Amazon who, fun fact, is actually confirmed to exist in James Gunn's DCU in that Hall of Justice mural. Next up is the Horsewoman, a paraplegic archer with a connection with the Red that lets her communicate with and command horses. And last but not least is Al-Jabbar, the only member of the group without superpowers, who makes up for it with his amazing intelligence and great inventions. I really like this team. It has so many elements that make even the more meh story arcs really fun to read, simply because of the dynamics at play. Like the fact that both Etrigan and Savage are straight up evil. They'll do heroic things, sure, but only when it benefits them in the moment. Aside from that, they're huge jerks, and both of them betray the team at points, with Savage doing it like 3 times. The guy has no moral compass, which is to be expected of a character like Vandal Savage. I mean, he invented cannibalism, but what makes it even better is that Vandal is so funny and extra in this book. He has no filter and is just in love with causing pain and destruction. And I kind of headcanon it as like Vandal being in the teenage years of his immortality. He's gotten so used to it as a little boy, so just decides he's gonna fuck around for a century. It's really amazing. I also love the romance in this book. Jason and Xanadu are in a relationship, but to keep Etrigan on the side of good, Xanadu pretends to be in love with Etrigan when he's swapped in, and it creates this very tragic situation, but also a little intrigue because there's a hint of doubt at points, like, does Xanadu actually love Etrigan and not Jason? And while it's most likely that's not the case, it's still never 100% verified. Also in a relationship are Exoristos and Sir Ystin, and their romance is so cute. Seeing this large, excitable Amazon be so kind and loving and a little flustered around this very small knight gives a lot of Big Barda and Mr. Miracle vibes, and that's a peak ship. By the way, speaking of Exoristos and Sir Ystin, if this book was released today, there's no doubt in my mind that a certain group of people would 100% be calling this book quote-unquote woke propaganda. I mean, Ystin is canonically genderqueer, half the team are women, we have both a disabled character and a Middle Eastern character in a European setting. There's a whole plot point revolving around 2 lesbian princesses wanting to get married. Like, Vandal Savage says the words sapphic nuptials. Like, this shit is so fucking peak, oh my god. I also want to give a quick shout out to Horsewoman's powers. Not only does she command horses, but she also has a magic saddle that lets her quickly get onto horses or swap them, which I think is such a fun and unique thing to use with a disabled character. It kind of makes me sad that the Holy Grail ends up fixing her legs, because I think the magic saddle is just such a fire idea. Does that make me a bad person? Anyway, the plot of Demon Knights is pretty simple, but also batshit insane. Like, in essence, the whole run is about a group of travelers on the search for the Holy Grail, but in the meantime we have robot dragons, dinosaurs, vampires, giants, and Xanadu saying the word cuckold. Okay, that last one is not as crazy, but I don't think I'd ever get the chance to say the word cuckold on this channel ever again, okay? Sue me. Moving on, the story also introduces a lot of concepts you might not originally think much about, only to use them later in a lot of interesting ways. Like, there's a huge time skip halfway through the run, and Al-Jabbar is now old and the leader of a huge advanced city, and he's living vastly different from the rest of the Demon Knights, because he's the only one without immortality. He grew and changed, while the rest stayed wanderers like they were at the beginning of the story, and it's a really neat look at the whole mortality versus versus immortality dynamic, where immortality is also in a way not just an inability to age, but an inability to change, and it's only when Algebra brings the knights back together that they're able to complete their character arcs. After the time skip, there's also this plot point where Vandal Savage actually kidnaps and tortures Jason Blood for years, and the years of torture make Jason so resilient that later in the story, he's able to stand being tortured in literal hell in order to make a deal with Lucifer. The book isn't perfect, but man, when it hits, it hits. Oh yeah, by the way, Lucifer's in this book. You know, Satan.
Jesus Christ, watch out for that son of a bitch!
It's really cute that you're gonna defeat me with the power of friendship and all, but again, I am the devil from the Bible, so I don't know how
You
well it's gonna work.
motherfucker, you didn't let me finish!
I want to use Lucifer to segue into a point I made at the beginning of the video, about how this book isn't just about the past of DC in-universe, but also in real life. Demon Knights is heavily connected to the New 52. It uses the New 52 versions of Lucifer and Cain, it uses the New 52 lore of the Amazons. We even find out that the Demon Knights are actually the first iteration of Stormwatch, because DC had recently acquired the Wildstorm IP and really wanted to use it. It's really a book of its time, and the fact that the Demon Knights are still canon makes reading this book have a sort of fairy tale quality, trying to figure out how certain things could fit into canon and what doesn't. So those are my thoughts on Demon Knights. It's a team I definitely want to see again, and the run ends in a way that leaves tons of opportunities for more storytelling. Though, if I'm being honest, I kinda just want to see Exoristos headbutt another Triceratops. Tell me that shit isn't sick as hell. I dare you. But anyway, that's been it for me, Z, and I'll see you in Camelot. Bye.